Hi everyone, it's Mel. I hope you're doing great. Last week I designed sports clothes for Dakota, Leitner and Alistair, and this week we are designing active wear for Gabriel and Oxford, two of my other OCs that you might know not so much about, but whatever, let's get into it. I didn't do like I did for the three others. For the others I basically drew Leitner and then I drew Alistair, so I could talk about Leitner and talk about Alistair, even though it wasn't exactly synced, but whatever. Here I decided that I was not going to use my brain and I kind of drew both of them in parallel. So I did the line art for one and the line art for the other, the flat color for one, the flat colors for the other, but at least you've got a rough idea of what each one looks like. Whereas in the last video I started talking about Alistair and you just couldn't see him, so it might not be as bad after all. There aren't as many things to say about these two, the design of these two, because the others do actual sport, you know. For Leitner it's PE classes, for Alistair it's just casual sport that you do to have a good health, and for Dakota it's, you know, the passion of doing sport. But these two don't actually do sport, it's more like active wear, as I said. I don't really know if in my OC's world they are the equivalent of our countries, but they live in what would be the Canadian winter. A lot of snow, the forest, a house away from everything. They don't really do sports. I gave a sort of bowl to Gabriel, but I just wanted to do it so that the pose would be more dynamic, but they wouldn't just play volleyball in the middle of the Canadian winter. That makes sense. When it comes to Gabriel, you might be wondering why is he wearing shorts if it's snowing everywhere. I can't develop his story right now. First of all, because it's too long. Second of all, because I have to admit I don't know everything about a story now. These two characters are still being developed, but he's had problems with his legs, so he basically doesn't have much sensitivity in them, which is the reason why he doesn't really care about wearing shorts in the middle of the winter. And on the other hand, if it was summer and it was like 40 degrees outside, he could completely be wearing very heavy trousers because he doesn't feel that much in his legs. For the top, he's wearing a jacket. I wanted to make it look oversized. It doesn't look this oversized, to be honest. I wish I had made it bigger. But the idea of the character, the idea of who Gabriel is that he lost everything he had before. One day I'll explain you what happens with my OCs, and he's trying to rebuild something. So he doesn't owe much. He probably borrowed this jacket from someone else. Oxford, I'm not sure. It's not the type of colors that he would wear. It's not his. I just wanted to show that his active wear is not actually his, and he doesn't care this much. He's the kind of character who doesn't really give a he doesn't feel much in his legs. He goes out in shorts and doesn't care. He just grabs someone's jacket and here you go. Now going for Oxford. That was a rough transition. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of anything. He is much darker. Actually, it's very funny because these characters are kind of a pair. If Leitner, Dakota and Alistair are like, would be a sort of triangle, these two are opposites. More like the yin and yang, except they're not black and white, but their colors are dark blue and light blue. And here I dressed Oxford in darker colors and Gabriel in lighter colors. This is actually a decision that I made on purpose. So Oxford is dressed in darker clothes. He's wearing these sort of like coat, jacket, jumper at the top. I don't know, it's very trendy where I live, but he doesn't wear it because it's trendy, obviously. It's just because it protects him from the rain, the wind, the cold, and it doesn't have a zipper. And Gabriel does have a zipper. It's one more opposition. It's just a worse opposition and the meaning is kind of dumb, but I don't really know. I felt like it was a good idea that one would have a zipper and the other not. You know, the complementarity of zippers or something like this. Sometimes I don't know what I think about when I draw. For the shoes, he's got like Timberland sort of shoes, and I know that people who actually chop wood in the Canadian winter have actual wood choppers, I don't know, boots, and that Timberlands are kind of the mainstream boots for snow and stuff. But I just don't know anything about boots, so I just gave him Timberlands, it suits him well, whatever. And he's just got a pair of tracksuit bottoms because I couldn't think of anything else to give him. By the way, he's got the bisexual flag on like the side of his tracksuit bottoms, and Gabriel's got the agender flag on his socks. I really hope I didn't take the wrong colors for this flag. And I do put LGBT plus flags or colors everywhere on my characters, and I just don't have time to address it. I will talk about this whole thing in another video about, you know, art and the engagements and stuff. Here I'm just here to talk about my characters and their clothes design. So I am done. As I said, there isn't much to say about them. First, because they're not really sporty people, and second, because I actually didn't develop these characters a lot. The problem is I created them being very quiet. Gabriel is still very quiet, but he's talking a little bit more than he did previously. And Oxford was also the kind of character, you know, who doesn't feel anything, who doesn't really talk, who doesn't care about relationships, and he's just doing his stuff by himself. Because I like these personalities, but it's very difficult to develop a character that doesn't have any sort of conversations with the others. So I made big changes in my OCs recently. Not so much Dakota, Layton, and Alistair, but all the others, yes, because there are others, got, you know, changed up a bit. And I think it's much better, but it means that I've got to redevelop some parts of their stories. So these two, they are one of my oldest OCs actually. They're almost as old as the three others, but they're not quite as developed. So I'm gonna work on them, and you're probably gonna hear about my characters at one point or another. Anyway, I am done designing their clothes. I hope you liked this video and the previous one if you've seen it. I also hope you're gonna have a good day or a good week, or just be happy in general, and I also hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye!